Final ending to the 1-year story, the new chapter, part 1 down in the comments. Days later, I moved out officially last night. It was rough. I had a majority of my things moved the previous weekend because the tenant of my apartment had moved already. The last of my stuff I was able to stuff into my car. Everything has been divided and she's asking for no alimony or any type of support. She was standing in the doorway watching me move my stuff. When I carried out the last box and got into my car, I looked at her and she was crying her eyes out. I went up and gave her a hug and told her goodbye. I drove off and cried for about an hour straight. I slept for about 10 hours and said I'd be late for work. As for another guy in the picture, I still don't know, probably never will. I just don't understand how she could be so frigid and mean to me. I'll never understand why she just couldn't give me a hug once in a while or tell me how much she cared about me. I was, after all, her husband. It's like I never really got to know this person. It's true when they say when person you marry and the person you divorce are never the same person. I see almost a stranger now. This is so much harder than I thought. The real issue here is that she judges me and others so much. She isn't good for anyone. She was dating a guy before me who made $80,000 working his own boat rental business and had his winters off. She wasn't happy with him either, but I do know she's really into material things. Big houses, diamonds, crap like that, which is all surface garbage. I will tell you one last story. I remember, after our wedding, that she wanted to upgrade her wedding ring to a bigger size and I let her do it with some of the money we had in savings. At the time, it made her happy, but looking back, I find it completely superficial. High maintenance. And ugly. I regret doing that for her. I haven't heard from her at all since I moved out. No single call, email, or text. I do have to meet her a couple more times before our divorce is finalized. Not sure how it's going to go. Do I think she has BPD? Almost 95% positive she has it. A month later, we officially divorced yesterday. She was very cold to me, clinical, and wouldn't look me in the eyes at all. Her parting words, just to let you know, I'm defriending you on Facebook as well as your family members. I sort of laughed at her and said okay. I guess of everything that could be said, this is what she chose to say to me as her parting message. I also got the feeling that she's seeing someone. Something about her body language and smell told me something was going on there. I felt something in the pit of my stomach. Is this heartbreak? My coworker took me out for lunch right afterwards and I asked me about my marriage. He once told me, based on my phone conversations with her during my lunch breaks and his brief interactions with her at my after-work functions, that she was the typical nagging wife and he could tell that I was miserable. So, it seemed like everyone sort of knew that it was heading this way. But nobody felt comfortable saying anything, which is completely understandable. So, life is pretty weird these days. I'm trying to find who I am again after 3 years of suffering. I think it's going to be a while. I am so depressed. I love this woman so much and she just X'd the crap out of me. What's worse is that the guy she's dating is overweight and not good looking at all. I'm sorry, but he's ugly. I am being judgmental, but I'm hurt because she was ridiculously hard on me about everything and had such high standards. This is so ducked. I think she felt she had me until I moved out, noticed I wasn't budging on my decision to divorce, and quickly started the weight loss to pull this guy in. I remember her crying when I moved out, but she needs to survive and the only way she can do this is dropping her panties to her co-workers, including me. I am not ready to date anyone at this time. I'm a little too shaken to contribute to a new relationship. As to why I loved her, she was beautiful and very sweet and nice in the beginning. Very eager to spend all of her time with me, and even though I was good about giving us a good amount of space between dates, I sort of pushed her away and tried to not move so fast. I think I felt confident we could make it. She had an agenda, and still does. This has nothing to do with me. It's always about her. My love was real, hers never was apparently. Because if she really did, she would have never behaved this way and wouldn't have jumped into a relationship this quickly. You know what's funny? I remember her yelling at me and crying one day. She was behaving in such a crazy way that I wasn't even fazed by it and not even engaging her in the fight. I looked at her face, and though it appeared she was crying, I saw no real tears. After I called her out on it, the fact that I saw no tears, her attitude changed in seconds. It was bizarre. I'm coming around today. I did snoop on the guy a little bit last night and found that he had a pretty good position in the company. So that must have been the draw. I estimate he makes maybe double my salary. Not sure, I found a couple photos of him last night and I'm shocked that she would actually go for someone so unattractive. I'm so pissed. I want to post a picture of this guy. For someone so judgmental about looks, I'm not understanding this choice. She would even tell me there were no attractive guys at work. And the whole Facebook thing, I can't believe he's already met her family. The ink doesn't even dry on our papers. I'm taking this Friday off, going home for a while. This is nuts. Just threw out a bunch of our wedding photos tonight, and started crying again. I thought about her all day today and I'm getting these terrible mind movies about the two of them together. I was doing okay until I found everything out. I really was. I would have been fine if a year from now I found out she was with someone, but the wounds are still way too fresh. I've never felt so betrayed, I just don't understand it. I wonder how her co-workers view her. It's embarrassing. I'm trying to do all the right things in order to move on. She always complained about how we didn't have this or that, people made more money. They had babies, they had fancy cars, all of this crap. I'm working my back off and doing great at my job, even though I'm underpaid. My work is winning these awards and I'm respected in my position. I'm 6 feet 2, 165 pounds, 7% body fat, full head of hair. And I'm always getting looks from girls when we'd go grocery shopping, go to the movies, etc. One of her co-workers even hit on me at a party. I'm sorry for coming off arrogant. I worked hard for myself, and for her. I treated her really well. I wanted to be someone she was proud of. But every flaw is brought up. We were living these 80-20 rules. Then, this guy shows up and she uproots everything. I want to post a picture of this prick who most likely had a big role in ruining my marriage. I want to email her to let her know that I know everything. I feel like she is getting away with murder here. Like she was rewarded for divorcing me. I go from rage, to sadness, to depression. So, I got a text from her yesterday. We have to meet to take care of some stuff from the sale of our house. Financial crap. I haven't responded yet. I'm dreading this. But I want to rip her to shreds and tell her what a piece of crap she is. I am thinking I might be able to get away with not seeing her and trying to handle the financial stuff over the phone. Doing a little bit better this week. I've booked a vacation to Nova Scotia the first week of October. I just told my boss I have to get out for a while for personal reasons, as he's aware of my divorce. The price was not cheap, but I don't care. I was in tough shape last week. I just don't understand it sometimes. I hate her so much. Then love her so much. I'm back from my trip and beginning to feel better each passing day. I got a little more intel on what has happened from various sources. Mainly how thoroughly enmeshed they are already. I guess one of our old mutual friends saw them together somewhere and she had no idea they were together. She knows both my ex-wife and her boyfriend as she works with both of them. It's sort of confusing story. But essentially my ex-wife wouldn't even say hello to my friend. Tried not to think about what has happened and I'm working on trying to get a new job and move out of the town I live in. I don't want to be around her and her new boyfriend or bump into them. I'm wanting to wipe the slate clean and start over with my life. The hurt is still pretty bad, though. I just don't understand how someone can move on that fast. Unfortunately, I need to see her in 2 weeks. We have some real estate paperwork that needs to be taken care of. Comments. One day you will wake up and just not care what the reason was that made her do the things she did. And one day, perhaps long after that day, it will come to you why. In my first marriage, my wife acted very similarly. I was devastated. It took 6 months of questioning that was literally driving me insane. 6 months of hell. 6 months of being stuck, and then one day, I just didn't care. For me, that day coincided with me starting to date someone I was really into. You might be different. I don't know. And now as I look back, I know exactly why she cheated. I know the things I did that enabled it. I know the mistakes I made, and I know that she's a deeply flawed and surface person who just doesn't form deep relationships with others. Some people are just like this. They're like a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can keep shoving stuff in the top, but it just keeps draining away, so they're always empty inside, and I know she's still there. Still single, still wondering why she's empty. Objectivity man, you're not there yet, but you will be. The 2 best choices you've made were divorcing her and sticking to your guns and wearing condoms with her. You're going to have to understand that the woman you fell in love with was a front. A show, an illusion she created. It wasn't real. She was never happy, and likely never in love. She was hiding her unhappiness with herself, you, and life. Only so long as it took to get her hooks in you. Once that was accomplished, she let the curtain down. Now she's raising the curtain again, polishing herself up for the show she's about to put on for some unsuspecting sap again. Her weight loss and polishing up has zero to do with her now being happy or having a love interest. It has everything to do with creating an illusion, a trap, for her next victim. She knows exactly what she's doing. And it's with a goal in mind, not happiness. Don't fret not 1 second about this new guy, or how she could move on so easily and quickly. Doesn't matter. With this type of personality, any man will do, and when her real side starts to show and he dumps her, the process will repeat. And repeat, and repeat. Good job getting out, especially without kids. Now move forward and enjoy your life and learn to enjoy women and their company again. This time as a much smarter and more educated man. OP responds, "This is so true. I'm trying to figure out what she sees in this guy. I just can't understand why I was under so much scrutiny." And then she turns around, starts dating this guy. I guess there is a reason why she won't post Facebook photos of them together. I can't see her wall, but my friends tell me everything. But it was pretty much a big farce, right from the start. You don't shut down a marriage 3 months in and behave this way. I have to let go and chalk it up to her craziness. My belief is that as soon as I pulled the plug, she began looking for a new husband right away. Or she always had a thing for him and couldn't do much about it because she was married. Many pages back, after I called it off, she ran away for a week and went to her parents' house. She was crying from their house and was passively pleading. She kept asking, "Are you sure?" and told me my life is over. But that was the extent of her trying to get me back. She never came to me directly and said, "I love you and I want us to be together." We lived together for a couple months after this, and she would just stew in our bedroom and watch TV in the living and not do anything. She didn't even care. I did some research on the guy and he has been with that company for almost 10 years, so they've been around each other on a pretty consistent basis for a long time. He makes pretty decent money, so I believe that was the appeal, because he is pretty ugly. Based on her timing and weight loss, he for sure was in the picture before it was finalized. I had moved out and pretty much he was right in. She prettied herself up to get this guy. Well, I need to see her next week. She emailed me today to confirm our meetup at the bank to split a check that needs my signature. So, this is probably the last time I'll ever see her in person. I want to rip her apart, but that's allowing her to win. Applied for a few new jobs this week which are in a town about 3 hours away, and one of them has actually called me already. So, I'll be literally moving on if this works out. Also, my co-worker friend is trying to set me up with his girlfriend's friend. She is decent looking. Not my type, but I'm thinking about giving it a shot. She saw my FB profile and some of my pics from Nova Scotia and thought I was really hot, so that's nice to hear. However, I still feel pretty broken and empty. I think I need some counseling, to be honest, as to why I still care about this person. I hate this feeling. So, I did something last night which I shouldn't have done, but a lot of people do. I went and dug through the guy's Facebook page and clicked on a few profiles of my ex-wife's and his mutual friends and family. I was in a lousy mood, angry about life, etc. It sickens me how thoroughly integrated they already are. Even some of photos are comments from her co-workers like, "You guys look so happy." I feel like the biggest fool. It's like that entire company was in on relationship and I didn't even have a clue. It makes me wonder what kind of smear campaign she was on. Like I was somehow responsible for all of her depression and self-loathing. But what really got to me the most was a particular photo of the guy. He bears strong resemblance to an ex-boyfriend of hers from college that she desperately wanted a relationship with, but he wouldn't give in to her. Her ex-boyfriend and this new guy are both overweight, short, stocky, with military-style haircuts and light brown, blonde hair. Neither were good-looking. I'm the exact opposite of both of these guys. Lean, 6'2", dark brown hair. Narrower face, medium-length hair. It solidifies that I never really was her type, that this is what she wanted. I wonder why she even came after me in the first place. I'm becoming her. I hate this. I was in a good place after we split, really. I was. I felt relief. I was actually a pretty mentally healthy guy during our marriage, but she was beating me down so much, but I would bounce back. I never had depression. I never took meds. I never hated myself. It's like I absorbed this woman's pain. Update. Hey, I'm not bad. I had a decent weekend. I joined a soccer team a couple weeks back and we've been playing 2 games a week. I have things to look forward to now. Quick question, is it normal to feel this empty? What exactly is that feeling in my chest? It feels like broken heart, but it's like a very ominous dark cloud that sort of follows me around. I don't think I've ever had these feelings before. Depression, maybe? I'm not crying as badly as I was last week. I just started watching the show The League and it's gotten me out of the dumps. Still, I wake up every morning and think about her. I don't want to. I guess I'm shell-shocked. I can't turn off love that quickly like she could. I'm also dealing with ego issues because this crazy witch seems to think this guy is so much better than me. So, I've been reading a lot of Cluster B and Borderlines lately and I see her hitting all the check marks. I think she might be high-functioning borderline because she isn't into cutting, drug abuse, or some of the other crazy behaviors. So, I have to see her tonight. The plan is to ignore. But, I had a major revelation last night. I'm done caring. I'm just done with her and I realize how apathetic I've come in regard to everything that has happened in the past couple of days. I'm mentally exhausted and don't need this pain in my life anymore. I don't have the energy to maintain this thought process that just beats me up day in day out. I need to get on with my life and walk away. I had a trigger this morning in which I remember how miserable she was and how badly she treated me. It was something on a morning talk show, a DJ, whose nagging voice sounded like hers. I was disgusted. I realized right then that I'm missing nothing by being with her. I know that I can do better. I think I might chime in later to let you know how it goes tonight, after tonight. I'm going to take a break from these boards. The more I dwell and talk about it, the more involved and invested I become. Not a good thing. So, I saw her. I just got back home from the accountant's office. Long story as to why I had to do this, so I won't get into it. She was about 5 minutes late, appeared in knee-high boots, tight jeans, lots of makeup on. This seemed odd to me, since it was 5:30 p.m. when we had to meet and her clothing was not work-appropriate. So, either she was trying to impress me, or her new boyfriend, whatever the case may be. She was incredibly dismissive, rude, and cold, texting the whole time. I had to ask her a question about our house due to tax purposes. Namely the date we sold it, and she said to me in really crappy tone, "Why do you need to know that?" When working with our accountant, she was bubbly and friendly and extremely confident. Whenever I had to interact with her, she went really cold and acted holier than thou. I did my best to avoid her and left the offices without saying goodbye. I was in such rage on the way home that I stopped at a bar, and I normally don't do this alone, and had about 3 draft beers to cut my edge off. So, she won, and she got to me. The rage comes from all the reasons stated in this thread, but it also feels she is getting rewarded for treating me like garbage, for filing for divorce, and banging this guy in my house while we were separated. I'm trying not to care, but I feel awful right now. I know exactly what she is doing and whose place she is going to tonight. I hate this woman. I have plenty of guy friends, but I've been neglecting them for the past 3 years. Now I know why. Maybe they didn't like my wife. I take the blame here too. Since I'm on the other side of town, I have an opportunity to make some new friends. I'm already hanging out with my soccer team. Come to think of it, she doesn't have any real friends that she hangs out with. Nobody calls her or texts her. Just her mom. Heck, none of her bridesmaids even speak with her. They all sort of disappeared. I can understand, in some strange way, why she has a boyfriend now and it's a co-worker. She doesn't have the ability to go outside of her job to meet people. I was her only social outlet outside of that job. Now I understand her need to replace me so quickly. Someone mentioned earlier in this thread something about how they need this to even function. I feel bad for her. So, what happens next? She probably gets married to this guy, a co-worker. Then stays at this job that she hates because he still works there. And lives in a town that she finds boring, and doesn't really do anything to improve herself. I should not care. But how is this a good thing? I don't know. That's why I want to leave. I'm given a chance to get out and move to a different place and meet someone new. I'm no longer chained to this woman and I want to experience something new. Days later. Did really well this weekend. I attended a wedding for one of my office mates and met a few single ladies there. Slow danced with one. Felt awkward, of course, for a lot of reasons. It was the first event I attended as a solo guy and it was tough going home alone. On Sunday I joined a friend for a run. We met a few of his friends afterwards at a bar and this girl, a friend of friend, very pretty, started talking to me and we seemed to hit it off and we exchanged numbers. I did not call her or text her, but she texted me this morning to see what I was up to this Thursday. So, I'm back at it. I guess, in the beginning, she was the world's greatest actor. I got some insight. An emotionally abusive NPD or BPD woman is incapable of empathy. She's incapable of seeing any viewpoint other than her own and only cares about her needs and feelings. She'd rather stick bamboo splinters under her fingernails than feel vulnerable, and she cannot tolerate emotional and psychological intimacy. And she likes the idea of having a boyfriend or husband in the abstract, but the reality of being in a relationship is filled with frustration and disappointment for her because you're not perfect or good enough for her highly inflated false sense of self. She soon grows to resent you, and then the covert and overt abuse and rage attacks begin. Conversely, you try to hold her accountable and point out her imperfections. She can't have that. This was my wife in a nutshell. Days later, date went pretty well last night, went to a winery, got some beers afterwards, and then coffee. She stayed at my place until 1 a.m., kissed at the winery, and then for an hour or so at my place. She dressed very well, makeup, hair as well, quite different than what she looked like on Sunday. She looked spectacular. She apparently Googled me and Facebook stalked me for the past week trying to figure out more about me. She also talked to a girl who knew me. I partially know her. And the girl's reaction was, yeah. He's ridiculously hot. I didn't know he was divorced, so I'm being validated by other women, which is interesting. I guess I'm perceived in a different way than I thought. She also found photos of my ex-wife too and asked about my divorce. She also found photos of my ex-wife's new boyfriend. She was certainly doing her homework on me. I tried to be positive and not talk too much about my past, but I told her my wife had a lot of issues and I had to leave her. After a few glasses of wine, she half disclosed, well, your wife married up, meaning that I was essentially the better looking of the two of us and her new boyfriend was frumpy. I like this woman. We have plans, sorry. Meanwhile, I still have mutual friends of my ex-wife still on Facebook. They were people I knew before I met her. Anyways, she's liking their recent photos. I also stumbled upon a post, graphics she publicly shared that said, "Embrace life. Whatever happened this year was meant to be." Seriously? So, banging an executive co-worker and blowing up a marriage was all a part of your future plans. Had a great weekend with the new girl, and did what my older brother calls sealed the deal. Things are getting better. Still some residual pain, to be honest. Having the company of a new woman who seems to really care about me has been a tremendous help. She seems to understand my situation, but I talk about it only when she brings it up. In other news, I threw my wedding band, the price, drum roll, $85, into the river at a restaurant where my ex-wife and I had our official last date together. I stopped there on my way home from work and gave it a pretty good toss. And yes, I cried a little. This marriage was so messed up. It was the last item I had from her. I deleted my photos of her from a few external hard drives I had and trashed some clothing her parents gave to me as gifts a few weeks ago. It's hard to believe this all happened and I'll probably never see her again. So weird, it sometimes feels like this person never really existed. Weeks later, well folks, I knew this was going to happen sooner than later. She's engaged and living with him already. I have him and her blocked on Facebook, so I've been out of the loop, but this is beyond crazy. I play on a soccer team with two of her co-workers, and after a few beers one of them broke the news to me. So, another setback, but I know I'll be fine. The bright side is that I'm still with the girl I met a few weeks back. She's really been awesome and nice addition to my life. Taking it slow. And we've been pretty happy. I'm the only one I've known who has gotten a divorce and had a spouse get engaged that quickly. I don't know who I can talk to other than the people here and maybe my parents, who have been a tremendous help. I can't thank you guys enough. 2, her and her co-worker, soon-to-be husband, are just another casualty of her toxic work environment, hers included. I can count 5 other couples who have met through that company who were previously married. Cheating and affairs are rampant there. It is almost a part of that culture. I chalk it up to boredom, laziness, and the fact everyone looks great at work but they don't really know that person in the confines of their homes. My wife doesn't see what kind of office champ I am, and I made less of him. I had absolutely no shot against this guy, who makes roughly $70,000 more per year than me and has climbed the corporate ladder each year. From what I've heard, he's very chummy with the big wigs of the company, so my wife liked the idea of getting some sort of status with this guy, based on his looks. And I wish I could post his photo here, but I won't. She is not with him for his appearance. 3, the guy lives in a dump. The house my wife and I had was better, bigger, more stylish, and new, and get this. His sick dad lives with them, what the hell? 4. I am not that upset about losing her, or her getting remarried. She was awful to me and my stress levels are a lot lower now that she is gone. I'm upset that she could not value what I gave to our relationship. And that the fat ugly guy at work is somehow worthy enough in her eyes to sleep with. I wanted, desperately, to be intimate with my wife and got shunned repeatedly. So, she can just magically turn on her desires to a guy with clearly inferior looks. This is BS. 5. I'm getting stalked on LinkedIn by people who have once worked with my wife and probably wonder what happened to us. 6. My new girl is clearly better looking than my wife. My mother, who had dinner with us last night, could not get over how pretty she is. My brother saw a photo of her and said nice upgrade, so it looks as if my new girl is getting some pretty good feedback from the family. I want to add that I have no proof that she was cheating on me. I never got into her phone, followed her to work, cracked passwords, etc. After we separated, and about 2 weeks before I moved out, I noticed a significant amount of weight loss and very cold behavior from her. She went from being almost needy during separation to a completely different person in the span of a few weeks. She wore her wedding ring up until a point in our separation, and then I noticed she took it off. When I left and moved out, she cried, so confusing. My suspicion lies in the fact that she had been around this guy at work for years. He's been with the company since 2013 and she started in 2015. They were Facebook friends prior to us divorcing. So, they have known each other a long time. I think it's painful knowing they work together. If she would have been dating some random guy from the other side of town, I would feel a little more comfortable about everything. I have theory that she wanted to be with him for a while or vice versa. But her better judgment overruled her desires. When I pulled the plug, and she knew I was moving out and not coming back, she went at the guy full throttle. Update: it's been nearly 2 months and I'm feeling a lot better. I've been seeing my new girl for a couple months now. The difference between my ex and my new girl is night and day. I'm much more aware of red flags and this new girl seems to be the real deal. I saw my ex-wife this past weekend at the mall. She was by herself. She said hello and nothing else. I said hey back and nothing else. She gained a lot of weight since I saw her at the divorce proceedings. I think she found out about my new girlfriend through social media, as my new girlfriend has taken numerous pictures of her and I together. A lot of my mutual friends are now friends with my new girl and it's all pretty public at this point. My ex-wife even hit my LinkedIn page the other day, so I'm sort of wondering why she still cares. Maybe she ate her pain away. Maybe the pain of seeing me with my new girl got to her a little bit. My new girl is quite striking, and my ex-wife looked pretty rough. Even though it was hard to see her, I can safely say that the pain I once had many months ago has subsided and I've found some happiness again. I've been lifting weights about 4 days per week and reading lots of relationship help books to prevent future disasters. For those in pain, it does get better. Work on yourself, forget about your exes, reach out to family and travel. Write down your thoughts and save them in your email. These are just some of small things I did to feel better and help me recover from this mess. What I didn't understand was her need to get with someone while we were technically married. It hurt that she shut off the bonding with her own husband, but seemingly could turn it on for someone else. The bonding thing hurt me the most. I am happier without her in my life because I know her true colors now and I don't even like her. I think she is a pig, but whatever, she is still engaged. I saw the ring on her finger. I try not to think about these things too much. Like everyone else, I get triggers from songs or if I even see her company's logo. I'm just disgusted with everything. When I saw that she visited my LinkedIn page, it was a bit of setback, because I really thought she forgot all about me. That is how I've felt lately. I was so easily discarded and replaced. I'm close to reaching indifference. I'm not there yet, but it will happen. The longer I've been away from her, the more I realize it was probably BPD working its witchcraft. Once someone brought it up on this thread, I literally went down the checklist and said, "Yup, that's her." I've been dating a new girl anyways for a while, and after seeing my ex at the mall a couple of months ago looking like she put on 20 to 30 pounds, keep in mind she dropped her weight to get the OM, I see that she's clearly repeating all the same behavior that she did to me when we dated. She looked like garbage. I'm sure more failure and misery will follow. Meanwhile, I continue to up my value. I have a bodybuilder friend who gave me a workout plan and I'm lifting 4 days a week now. It has helped my confidence and I'm focusing my energy on that instead of being bummed about what happened. I don't think I've ever had a more attractive physique, and my girlfriend seems to approve. Oh, and bonding several times a week has probably made my life a lot better. It's crazy to think I've had more fun in a week and a half than I did during my entire marriage. She was pretty awful to me post-divorce and a real brat during the separation. I think she harbors a lot of resentment towards me for ending her marriage, remember? It's all about her, not us, and ruining her social status that she's looking to reattain, hence having her slob of a future husband on deck before the ink was dry. About half a year later. 1. I'm still going strong with my new girl. She is amazing, and everything I hope for in relationship. For those struggling, there is hope and things do get better. My new girl showers me with praise. Our physical life is amazing, and she beautiful to boot. My parents and my brother all seem to approve of her. They love having her around. 2. I also got a new job and make a lot more money. I've also relocated to a new town, so I'll never see my ex-wife again, thankfully. I should write about this experience. Maybe another time. 3. My ex-wife is now married to the guy she was with while we were technically still married, and she is now pregnant. This was hard to hear about at first. But I need to remind myself that she was an awful person who wouldn't have been a good partner to raise a child with anyways. I pity the OM who knocked her up that quickly after their marriage. Otherwise, I couldn't be happier. My woman and I are going to vacation in October. We need to the getaway. A few months back, maybe late February, my ex-wife saw me with my new girl at a restaurant or cafe place. It looked like she was picking up something to take home, but she was by herself. She saw me and gave me a polite, "Hey OP." A few months after that, in May I think, her wedding photo appeared as her profile pic and she had gained a lot more weight since the cafe run-in. So, a rather arrogant part of me thinks, or hopes that she ate her sorrows away after seeing me with a woman a lot prettier than her. But the reality is that I'm done with her, which is a great blessing, and she'll always be someone else's problem. My comment: what do you guys think about this final ending? OP escaped and got a better relationship ahead of him. You liked this good ending? Comment down below, sub and bell, and check out the other stories, especially the long series I posted recently.